safety plan, they will conduct a monthly test of their site-wide alarm at noon on the first Wednesday of each month. The test may be audible outside of the site, but community members do not need to take any action. In the event of a real emergency that has any impact beyond the site, Shell will inform the public and local emergency response officials. Robert J. Capo Sr. of Beaver passed away peacefully Thursday morning. Many knew Bob as the owner of Capo Furniture and Appliance in New Brighton. The family business was started by his father, and it grew over the years and evolved into a 3-generation operation. Bob was a licensed appraiser for over 50 years and an auctioneer for 44 years, and was also involved in real estate. He was also a founding member of the Beaver Valley Chamber of Commerce. Friends and family will be received at the Knoll Funeral Home at 333 3rd Street in Beaver on Sunday, December 10th, from 1 until 4 p.m. until the time of service at 4:30. Santa Claus will be visiting the New Brighton area this Christmas season. The Pulaski Township Fire Department will be parading Santa through the township on Saturday, December 16th, starting at 6 p.m. Santa's sleigh is then scheduled to visit the New Brighton Borough and Falston Borough on Sunday, December 17th during the afternoon. He'll then be with the Dougherty Township Fire Department on Saturday, December 23rd, beginning at 12 noon. They ask that you be patient because it takes Santa several hours to visit all of the neighborhoods in the 4 New Brighton area municipalities.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Bob. We're retired, and we live at St. Barnabas in the Village.
We used to have a house.
Lived in it for 40 years.
Raised our kids.
But it became too much. The upkeep, the stairs.
Moving seemed like such a hassle. We didn't even know where to start, so we didn't.
Until we met Cindy at St. Barnabas.
She talked us through our options.
Yeah, and she helped us with our move and all the arrangements.
There was so much stuff. Who knew we had 3 fondue pots?
But she made it easy.
So easy.
Now we enjoy ourselves.
Golf, the pool, new friends, shuttles to where we want to go.
The pub and the food.
So good.
There wasn't a long-term commitment or any large fees.
And they have a healthcare system on campus with doctors if we need it. The kids really like that.
The kids like to come and eat with us.
There's an easier, worry-free way to retire at the Village at St. Barnabas. Come visit us for a free and informative counseling session and personal tour.
I can't believe you waited so long.
I can't believe you waited so long.
Visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-443-0700.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect cloudy skies today, becoming gradually sunnier through the day, reaching a high of 46. It'll be partly cloudy tonight, going down to a low of 35. Partly sunny tomorrow, becoming sunny with a high near 54. Chance of rain Saturday, but mostly cloudy, reaching a high of 59. Rain on Sunday at a high of 51, and cooling off on Monday with mostly cloudy skies, only reaching a high of 36. On this Thursday, December the 7th of 2023, at 11 after 9, we've got a temperature of 37 degrees with cloudy skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
We get calls every day. Every day we get calls. And quite often, we have no idea. So once a month, we bring in people that have an idea. Once a month, we do ask the commissioners. You can call with your questions. The people that call, and Jack, this may stun you. Sometimes I don't have the answer. Jack Manning is here. Tony Amadeo is here. Morning, Tony.
Good morning. How are you this fine morning?
It's too early to tell, to be honest with you. It ain't snowing, so we'll take it.
Yes, but it's brisk out.
It is brisk. Tony Amadeo and Jack Manning are here because they're commissioners. If you have questions for them, Now is when you call for the next hour. 724-843-1888, 774-1888. This is being live Facebook streamed on our Facebook page. If you've got questions and you can't call, you can post your questions there. I covered all the ups and downs and everything, right?
There you go.
Okay. Do you slow down after the election, or do you go back to work, or is there a window where you ease back into it because both of you just got reelected to the gigs?
Every year, things slow down a bit between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But the election obviously exacerbates all the activity and all the things we're involved with. But there's really just some final end of the year stuff, passing the budget, obviously. And in this case, we had the reassessment, so we had to fix the millage for that. And there's a lot of end of year kind of wrap up stuff that we do.
He means Christmas party invitations.
Yeah, trying
We
to
get
respond.
so many of them.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yes. But
Yeah, how many
we
of them
try
do
to
you
make
know?
as
You
many
can't
as
bring
we
that up.
can.
I was going to say, how many do you go to?
I have 5 on Friday alone.
Wait, 5 in one day.
And I try
that's-
and accommodate as many. I mean, people want to see their commissioner. I appreciate them. I want to recognize the good work they do. But seriously, there's 5 events Friday I have to go
because
to.
it shows that you support their organization.
Yeah.
And they work hard all year for the county. So they expect to see us there. And we try to get there. There's just so many of them.
Yeah.
Well, 5 in one night. That's crazy. Santa could
Well,
barely cover that.
Some of those start at noon. It's 5.
Okay.
It's not all the same time, but it's typical, and Tony and I are the same way with this. I mean, we want to accommodate as many requests as we physically can. I feel it's an important part of our job as commissioners to be out in the public, supporting folks, understanding, talking to them, engaging in conversations, but also appreciating the work that so many great nonprofits do around this county. So
And the
many great
hardest thing to
organizations.
do is sometimes you got to keep changing your clothes because some events are more formal than others.
Oh, I thought you meant you spilled stuff.
No, that's
Well,
going to be
that too.
Friday.
In my
as
case,
well.
that
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
What's on the agenda to get done for the next year? Do the commissioners look at that and go, okay, end of the year? And what you described, it sounds like you're trying to close the books at the end of the quarter.
Yes, but the fact that we're working on a budget, we're pre-planning what
That's
we're
what- yeah.
going to do next year.
Right.
Because
the
anything and
24
everything that
budget.
we do, we have to fund.
Yeah.
So we make sure that the money's there before we even bring it up.
How difficult is that since there's no budget from Harrisburg?
Well, you've read the thing about the 911 reauthorization, which we talked about yesterday, and I know Matt covered that. That's one that is potentially extremely troublesome for us. Most of the other stuff, the essential people services through behavioral health, there is emergency cash flow, and there's some stuff there. But if this 911 reauthorization doesn't happen, that could have significant consequences for our operations going
And that
forward.
came about because of the Great Recession. I was in office during that period of time.
The Great Recession.
And when that occurred, the federal government, not the federal government, the state government couldn't pass a budget. So guess who had to subsidize as best we could at that particular time?
Beaver County.
Yes.
Yeah, this was about the 2008, 2009.
Is there a concern that we could have to subsidize? Because what you're talking about is absolutely vital. For the people that don't know, you're talking about 911 service, emergency services.
You want
not
somebody
being
to be there
funded.
to answer the phone. You want somebody
Yes.
to respond.
Right now we're quibbling over 50 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
It's crap. If I get sick
I'm
and I
sorry?
dial 911,
Yeah.
I expect an ambulance to be there.
And you guys have all heard my mantra is well-equipped, well-trained folks in all of these emergency management positions, and we do have some unbelievably well-trained, well-equipped people. We don't spare them with secondhand stuff. I mean,
But you gotta
we want
pay
them
them.
to be able to respond. But so the last reauthorization was 5 years ago. My understanding is, and it put a $1.65 tax on any phone or iPad or anything that you can communicate, any communication device in which you could call 911 from.
You're talking about
$1.65 was
the purchase of a
5 years
new
ago.
one?
No.
No.
On your cell
on your
phone
ongoing
bill.
cell bill, there's a tax. There's a fee.
It's that last page that we don't look at,
exactly.
isn't it? Okay.
And it's been $1.65 for the last 5 years. The proposal is to raise that to $1.97 from $1.65. And there are some people in Harrisburg that are holding this up for, I don't want to speculate too much, but for reasons that aren't to the benefit, but to the detriment of every taxpayer, every resident in this Commonwealth, quite frankly, but in Beaver County.
If it's a detriment to the taxpayer, who is it a benefit to hold this up? Because that's
they consider it a tax increase.
That's a tax increase.
It's a fee.
It's a
fee.
fee.
They're calling it a tax, and they don't want to raise taxes.
Does anybody in Harrisburg, and both of you deal with people that work in Harrisburg a lot, is it standard practice to have a solution previous to being critical of a problem? When people say this is bad, do they show up and say this is bad, here's how we ought to do it?
I don't know.
You're smiling.
No, I've said this before.
Yeah.
During the election, you can run a grievance campaign and just complain. But if you have to get elected and you don't have a better solution, that doesn't govern very well unless you come to the table. So you can complain and grieve about things all you want, but you better have a better alternative or a solution, because it just kicks the can down the road, and you end up with even worse situations down the road.
Are there people that is their career? Don't name names, but are there people that live on complaining? Their political life stays afloat because they're rabble-rousers without solutions.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there. I don't, just turn on the evening news. The ones that are the loudest voices are usually the ones that don't have a clue and don't have a solution. They just like to complain. So I don't have time for that. We were elected to make. Well,
you got better. 5. Yeah, you got 5 parties to go to Friday. You ain't got time for that. Jack Manning is my guest. Tony Amadeo is my guest. Ask the commissioners. You do that by calling 724-843-1888 or 774-1888. Or you can go online. This is on our Facebook feed. You can post your questions in the comments section.
Make plans to be a part of a special program on Thursday morning, because it's time to Ask the Commissioners. The monthly segment is brought to you by Huntington Bank, the Laughlin Insurance Agency, and Beaver Valley Auto Mall. Click BeaverValleyCars.com. Daniel Camp, Jack Manning, and Tony Amadeo will be in the studio, as well as on Facebook Live to field your questions. Tune in this Thursday and the first Thursday of every month. Call 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888, or post comments in the Facebook feed to Ask the Commissioners. This Thursday starting at 9 on Beaver County Radio.
Nobody should be lonely, especially around the holidays. This is Cindy Haladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union.
Not again. Come on, Cindy. It's time to let somebody else do the talking. This is Karen Latchall. It is true, seeing a smiling, friendly face like mine, especially at the teller window, can brighten anyone's day. Cheer up. There is no need to do things alone or be by yourself this holiday or anytime. Come celebrate the value and service, not to mention live in-person tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
Don't be lonely this time of the year. Enjoy old-fashioned in-person transactions at Friendly Federal Credit Union. You can also click friendlyfcu.org. Happy holidays from Friendly Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union. You got a friend.
In revolutionary times, to be a patriot meant devoting oneself to the greater good and serving one's country in order to preserve the quality of life for everyone. Being a patriot can still bring great rewards in much the same way when you engage with Patriot Home Care in the Beaver Falls area. It can happen as an in-home care and general assistance provider for your loved one, or as a place for you to serve others as a Patriot Home Care employee. Do the patriotic thing today. Call Patriot Home Care, 724-506-8911. Let's all join together to serve the community. Airtime provided by Beaver Area Heritage Foundation.
Join 99.3 FM and WBVP for an on-site broadcast today from 4 to 6 p.m. from the newest pizza shop in Beaver County, Al's Pizza next to Fisher's Beverage in New Brighton. Yes, the owner of the food truck whose pizza you enjoy now has a storefront in New Brighton next to Fisher's Beverage. We will be live and on location today, so stop by and order some pizza and say hello. See you later today at Al's Pizza New Brighton from 4 to 6 p.m. next to Fisher's Beverage.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
Today, it's the monthly visit. Ask the commissioners. Jack Manning is with me here in the studio. So is Tony Amadeo. Somebody's calling with a question. We'll see how it goes. Tony's already said, what was the word you said early? Crap. Got Amadeo wound up early. Hi, thank you for calling Teleforum. What is your name?
Fred.
Say it again. Your phone cut out, and I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's my name is Fred.
Fred, appreciate it. What is your question for the commissioners?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for taking my question. And what I'm calling about is the Shell plant. I had a question. I went to a meeting over here in Monaca back on October the 12th. There was a group called Eyes on Shell, and they said something, and I thought, well, I heard what they said, but I'd like to ask the Beaver County commissioners their side of the story. But what Eyes on Shell said is they asked the commissioners if to have a forum about the cracker plant, and that the commissioners agreed to it, but then they backed out, and so Eyes on Shell asked the commissioners why they backed out, and the commissioners said the speakers who were supposed to come didn't respond. But then Eyes on Shell said that they asked the speakers, and the speakers said they were never asked. So, there's two sides to every story. I think every adult realizes that. So I figured I heard their side of the story, but I wanted to hear what the commissioners had to say about that.
Excellent. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the question. Jack, you want to go first?
I would be thrilled to put this officially on record and talk about the facts. We were approached by the Eyes on Shell group to facilitate
Absolutely.
a meeting with Shell, with Potter Township, and Emergency Management to discuss Shell's response to emergencies that would occur on site. We said we would try to do that. We reached out to Shell, and Shell said, we hold our own town halls. No, thank you. We reached out to Potter Township through our solicitor, who happens to be the solicitor of Potter Township, as well as our solicitor. They said, Potter said, no, thank you. Therefore, there was nothing to facilitate, because you can't have an emergency management discussion without Shell at the table. We're the third tier of any response that would happen should something occur at that facility. So we did not back out of anything. We did not renege on anything. We tried to facilitate a conversation. We weren't supposed to be part of the panel. We weren't supposed to be part of the discussion. We were supposed to help arrange. We tried, and that's the end result. We're being blamed for being pulled out and reneging on our word and stuff, and it's just totally unfactual, untrue. They know that. I think I was at that October 12th meeting because I attend some of those Eyes on Shell meetings just to make sure the record is straight and to bring a different perspective to those conversations. So thank you, Fred, for the question, but that is the factual truth of the matter.
And they know better because on two separate occasions, they came to our meetings.
Eyes on Shell.
Eyes on Shell. And we explained the whole situation to them. And the very next day, I start getting inundated with all these emails because they kept putting out the same wrong message.
But it's tough to do that. I will say we continue to have conversations with Shell. Shell is opening up the site for tours and visits and discussions about their emergency management preparation. And I hope to see more of that in the future. And Shell will be forthcoming on that. But the ball's in Shell's court and Potter Township's court. We are really only a third tier and would respond as required by those two should something happen.
I grew up in that area. 60 years that I know of, that side of the highway was black from cambium poisoning. They came in, cleaned that all up. They remediated. They spent $80 million. That site is cleaner now than it's ever been, especially since World War II. I live a half a mile up the hill from there. I know. And I keep an eye on it because, like, when they flare, it's like a rocket ship taking off of my front porch. That's how close I am. But we monitor it. We stay in contact with them. Any chance we get to visit with them, we do. Any time they ask to come in and speak with us, we set up the meetings. We do it. But we can't facilitate something where the participants won't participate.
I got more questions about this, and the phones are lighting up too, so after news we'll do that. Ask the commissioners. Jack Manning is with me, and Tony Amadeo is with me, and Curtis Walsh will be with us doing news after this on Teleforum.
Join Beaver County Radio on our Facebook and YouTube pages this Friday night for live video coverage of this year's Christmas on Merchant Street Parade and Festival. Beaver County Radio's Eddie Crow, Frank Sparks, and me, Curtis Walsh, will have live video coverage starting at 5:30 p.m. The parade gets underway at 6 and will feature the big guy himself, Santa Claus. Beaver County Radio's video coverage of Christmas on Merchant Street is being brought to you by the Alvarez Hahn Funeral Home, Unabella Health and Wellness Studio, Merchant Street Coffee Company, and Beaver County Radio.
Make the holiday special with a delicious box of chocolates from Roseland Candy Castle in New Brighton. For over 100 years, Roseland Candy has continued to demonstrate unmatched passion for chocolates. Roseland chocolates are made from scratch with only the finest and freshest ingredients. Roseland's has luscious cherry cordials, peanut butter meltaways, chocolate-covered pretzels, and so much more. Come visit the area's chocolate experts in New Brighton. Roseland's will ship their fresh homemade chocolates to your friends and family directly from their store. Order online at roselandcandy.com, and remember, Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without Roseland Candy.
Roseland Candy Castle can ship your chocolates anywhere. Visit them online at roselandcandy.com. Celebrate the holidays with chocolates from Roseland Candy Castle, located on 5th Avenue in New Brighton.
For beauty all under one roof, discover Unabella Beauty and Wellness Studio, owned and operated by Amanda Babel, a full-service day spa specializing in hair, nails, and facials for the entire family. The boutique features women's clothing, natural body products, soaps, purses, jewelry, and much more. Stop by Saturday, December 9th from 1 to 4 p.m. for a very Bella holiday celebration during the holiday open house with lots of specials and vendors. Unabella Beauty and Wellness Studio, 611 Merchant Street in Ambridge. Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect cloudy skies today, becoming gradually sunnier through the day, reaching a high of 46 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. Three Rivers Waterkeeper has filed a lawsuit against Beaver County polystyrene pellet producer Styrapec. Heather Halton Van Tassel, executive director of Three Rivers Waterkeeper, joined Mike Romide during Live Mike on Beaver County Radio Wednesday morning to discuss their findings. Van Tassel says Styrapec has been disposing plastic polystyrene beads, which they refer to as nurdles, from their plant in Potter Township into the confluence of the Raccoon Creek and Ohio River. Van Tassel says it's really hard to clean up, and it's not just plastic pollution,
but rather it can cause a lot of environmental harm and potentially impact human health as well. So these little things, they look just like tasty little fish eggs, right? A lot of aquatic life and bird life eat fish eggs. So they can consume them, and then they can't digest them, and then this could lead to long-term chronic health problems for a wildlife or even death. And then with humans, what we see is these plastic pellets, these tiny little micro pellets can actually continue to break down into the environment and get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where they're microscopic.
At a relatively quick work session on Wednesday, the Beaver County Commissioners were in discussions with department heads on two main subjects: construction at the county courthouse and the future funding for the county's 911 operations. Public Works Director Dan Colville updated the commissioners that the outdoor construction near the front of the courthouse may be completed sooner than expected. Colville also stated that the back steps on the courthouse that are currently being worked on should also be completed by the end of the month. Another department head, Eric Brewer of Emergency Management Services, made a plea to the commissioners to call our senators in regards to an upcoming vote on a PA State House Bill 1304 that would increase the surcharge rate from $1.65 to $1.97 in order to fund the 911 centers across Pennsylvania. The full story can be seen by going to beavercountyradio.com. You may have heard an alarm coming from the Shell Polymers plant in Monaca yesterday. Shell announced as part of their safety plan they will conduct a monthly test of their statewide alarm system at noon on the first Wednesday of each month. The test may be audible outside of the site, but community members do not need to take any action. In the event of a real emergency that has any impact beyond the site, Shell will inform the public and local emergency response officials. Robert J. Capo Sr. of Beaver passed away peacefully on Thursday morning, November the 30th. Many knew Bob as the owner of Capo Furniture and Appliance in New Brighton. The family business was started by his father and grew over the years, evolving into a three-generation operation. Bob was a licensed appraiser for over 30 years and an auctioneer for 44 years. He was also involved in real estate and was a founding member of the Beaver Valley Chamber of Commerce. Friends and family will be received at the Knoll Funeral Home in Beaver on Sunday, December 10th from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. And Santa Claus will be visiting the New Brighton area communities. The Pulaski Township Fire Department will parade Santa through the township on Saturday, December 16th, starting at 6 p.m. Santa's sleigh is then scheduled for a visit in the New Brighton Borough and Falston Borough on Sunday, December 17th during the afternoon. Then Dougherty will have Santa accompanying them on Saturday, December 23rd, beginning at noon. They do ask that the children be patient, as it takes Santa several hours to visit all of the neighborhoods in the 4 New Brighton area municipalities.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect cloudy skies today, becoming gradually sunnier through the day, reaching a high of 46. It'll be partly cloudy tonight, going down to a low of 35. Partly sunny tomorrow, becoming gradually sunny, reaching a high of 54. Warming up even more on Saturday. A slight chance of rain, though, with mostly cloudy skies and a high of 59. Rain on Sunday with a high near 51, but that rain is because of a cold front, and it's going to be chilling off a bit for Monday with cloudy skies and a high near 36. On this Thursday, December the 7th of 2023, at 36 after 9, we've got a temperature of 37 degrees with cloudy skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
It is Ask the Commissioners, and people are calling, and that's great, and I invite you to do so. Jack Manning is here. Tony Amadeo is here, all packed in live at the Fried Transportation Studios. I got a question for you, Jack, because I know you've worked in the industry in your previous work experience, and I just heard it on the news. What is a nurdle?
I have no idea. I worked over 35 years in the industry making all kinds of stuff. I've never heard the term nurdle used, I believe the Styropack, those are beads.
The little beads.
They're beads.
Right.
Yeah, pellets or beads is what the industry talks about. So you're an expert and you don't know what a nurdle is. Well,
I'm not saying you're not an expert. I'm saying how am I supposed to relate to the story?
I don't know that I'm an expert, but I could just tell you I've never heard that term. But nonetheless, I don't want to minimize the issue that some material got into the waterways. That's not supposed to happen. There are all kinds of procedures and protocols and stuff to make sure. Most of that happens when there's severe storms, and there might be some spills and some
just
transportation.
washes over.
You have bags that break. You have loading dock issues every once in a while, and that stuff will go where the wind blows or where stormwater runoff will do it. But there are mitigations I know that have been in place, not only there, but every facility across the country that makes that. And those are standards that have been put in place by the industry decades ago.
Before the news, we were talking, and Jack, you said, I'm going on the record. The general question is, are we as a community able to communicate with Shell as well now as we were? Because you guys got thrown in the middle of something that, from the sounds of it, had nothing to do with you. Is communication, the links of communication, are they changing?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, we were thrown, we were asked to do something that we had no control over, right? We have no purview over a publicly traded, established, permitted company that's operating in a county. We have no control and purview over that or any small business,
any company.
The radio station for that matter. We have no purview.
Shell first came here in 2012, negotiating and talking about what they were planning on doing. We have more communication now than we ever did, and they were trying to sell what they were doing back then. Yeah. So we've got a man, Curtis Thomas, right?
Curtis. Mm-hmm.
A fantastic guy. Anytime we pick up the phone, if he doesn't answer it, he gets back to us quickly. And we run into him all the time because they're always doing things in the community. And every time something big is being done, the commissioners are invited.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that they're engaged with. And the city of Aliquippa, they do all kinds of food drives and different stuff there. Fire departments, education, the schools, they've been heavily involved and engaged in the schools. So, I mean, it's like anything else. It's sporadic throughout there, but they're engaged, they're active, they're accessible to the extent that any company that's trying to manufacture and
to do business
is doing. And a business exists to serve a customer, and they have customers that they're trying to serve. So,
do you expect them to maintain? Do you expect it to grow? Because the pitch going back to 2012 was, this will happen and it will grow things. You have a great term that I never remember, downriver businesses?
Downriver, yes.
Yeah.
Downstream.
Downstream business.
I don't expect any other cracker plants to come into this area, but I mean, it could be full. Maybe
the original plan was to have 3.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, the original cost, which was brought up to the commissioners back then, was $3 billion. And what is it, $8 billion now they've got?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
6 to 8, but
they just put out all
there
the
may be one in
competition.
Ohio at some point, maybe one in West Virginia at some point. But the idea that this is going to look like the Gulf Coast of Louisiana or Houston Ship Channel is just isn't going to happen, because, again, a business exists to serve a customer. Market dynamics drive what happens there. I don't see the global market and demand there to have significantly more cracker plants. Now, there still will continue to be upstream and downstream businesses that gather around when they have the opportunities to expand their business or bring new business online or serve the existing businesses that come in. Come into the area.
The big standout thing that they presented to us back then was a 700-mile radius. If you drop a pin in, what's the place there, Grove City, and you go in a 750-mile radius, you'll get, 70-80% of their market.
About 75-80% of their customers are within one trucking one day's trucking.
One haul.
Yep.
724-843-1888, 724-774-1888. If you've got a question for Jack Manning or Tony Amadeo, you can also post your question in the comment section. This is being live Facebook feeded right now. Here's a question. Well, let's see. Hi, what's your name?
This is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. What's your question?
Well, I'll give the two guys a chance to run for the door.
Well, no,
Hi, Jerry.
Hi,
Jerry. Good to hear from you. It's been a day.
All right, so everybody knows what's about to happen. Okay, what's your question?
I am distressed over what has been done to the courthouse police memorial. They turned 20-some parking places in the garage to handicap. There's 3 in the street. There are 6 or so spaces beside the courthouse that the upper echelon feels they deserve to park in. And so what do? They have torn up the grass, and they're putting handicap parking almost on top of the police memorial. No discussion with the FOP. I've talked to several guys in law enforcement. Nobody's happy. Why?
Jerry, thank you for the call. Judging by the reaction, you guys have heard about this a little bit?
I have not heard one thing from
the
I have not heard one thing from the FOP or any police officer or anybody other than Jerry. And I expect, hey, first of all, Jerry is a great community servant. I appreciate what he does all the time. He transports veterans. He does stuff. He's heavily engaged in the veteran community, and I appreciate what he and his wife are everywhere, and they do a tremendous job. I respect his opinion, but the fact of the matter is, the courthouse is not the most handicap accessible building. When it was designed. Right. And Tony and I continually watch people struggle to come up those across the street from the park or even the parking garage to get into the courthouse. There's not much we can do other than try to move some additional spots that were on the Market Street side that no longer exist there, and bring some more handicap parking for visitors closer to the front entrance. I'm committed to that. I'm committed to helping the courthouse be as accessible as possible to folks with any kind of disabilities at all.
And those new spots are as close as we possibly can get to the front door. Mm-hmm. So when you pull in there, you get in your wheelchair or whatever you need, walker, and all you have to do is go up that little walk.
The ramp.
It's not that much of a grade, but it's a little walk to the front doors.
Is it not?
The spaces he's referring to are closest to the side door that the office holders use, and only the office holders can go in that door.
We've talked.
Detectives use that. District attorney.
But I'm
uses
talking
that.
about relative to the parking
side door.
spaces.
That's not a public spot.
Right.
But it's relative to the parking spaces.
Yeah. Is this part of the renovations that we've talked about it before? All the changes and all the concrete.
Listen,
is this
the
part of
courthouse
that?
is 25 years old.
Yeah.
The concrete was crumbling. People were tripping and falling, and we made a decision to repair everything. And we had engineers. We've had people involved telling us the best case scenario to changing the footprint that we had in the front and on the side and the back.
We've redone all the steps, all the concrete, installed new railings. We actually improved the grade. The grade of those ramps was actually out of compliance for ADA.
Too high?
Yeah, it was too
much of a
steep.
slope.
Too much of a grade.
So we lowered the slope. We've made a lot of improvements. But as Tony says, the building's gotten to a point where you have to repair this stuff. You have to do it in the interior. We've done a lot of work as well, where we had tripping hazards on the carpet that was bad. So new carpet, new tile, wayfinding signs in front of the offices to direct people a little bit.
The ventilation systems.
Ventilation, heating, cooling.
Just like owning a house at 25 years, the big stuff needs.
If you aren't putting something back in it, and this isn't extravagant by any means, It's just functional. Right. It's just making sure we're safe, functional, and respectful to the people of Beaver County. So.
Jack Manning and Tony Amadeo are in the Thrive Transportation studio sitting with me. It's Ask the Commissioners on Teleforum. Here's a question from the comments section of the live video feed on our Facebook page. What are your thoughts on Rich Fitzgerald becoming the new head of the Southwest PA Commission? Is that good for Beaver County?
I'll defer to Tony first.
Okay.
Yeah, I've supported Rich many, many times. I was actually moving through the chairs with SPC. I probably should have been the chairman right now, but I had my stroke, and it was one of the things I gave up. I resigned, not from the SPC. But my point is, I worked hand in hand with Rich Fitzgerald from the time he started the chairs and from the time after that when I followed him through. He's got a lot of contacts. He's a very involved man, very intelligent man. Yes, I'm very, very happy with the selection.
And I agree with Tony. I've got to know Rich better over the last 4 years. Certainly knew him before then. He's always been great to work with. My issue in the past and historically with the SPC or the Allegheny Conference is that they like to talk about the 10-county region, and they use the demographics and the population, but we don't see much benefit outside of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. And even though Rich was the county executive for Allegheny County, he understands what's going on in Beaver County and our advanced manufacturing, our energy, the different businesses, the different infrastructure issues we have. And I feel very good about him being in that spot, somebody that knows us, that we know personally, that we'll be able to
we can pick
to
up
contact.
the phone,
Yep.
pick up the phone directly to him.
What does the Southwest PA Commission do? What is it supposed to do?
Well, the transportation tip, we decide like what's going on Broadhead Road, which happened. This is just one small example in Beaver County. We funded a study from 5 Points all the way down to the mall. And it takes time. They came up with various solutions. And when it was all said and done, Broadhead Road finally got paved, not overlaid, paved correctly with all the right things that needed to be done. And we even notified the gas companies and the water companies, sewer companies, if you're going to change your lines, do it because this is coming. And it was done the right way. The sides of the road were done properly. And there's also plans to do certain intersections. Like my big thing was making 5 Points 4 Points with two different plans.
Please.
Yes. And there's different, like the Aliquippa Shopping Center, there's a bus thing that they were talking about putting in there.
At the end of the day, Eddie, nothing gets done that's a major infrastructure road or bridge improvement unless it goes through the SPC for the funding at either the state or the federal.
It's called the TIP.
So that
the Transportation Improvement Plan.
Right.
So that plan, if something isn't on that plan and doesn't work its way through the system, and again, it covers 10 counties surrounding Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, all those projects get funneled into that, and they work their way up there. And then when the funding's available, these projects go forward.
The new thing we're trying to do now
critically important.
is the Aliquippa-Ambridge Bridge. I mean, it's going to be 100 years old here pretty soon. Yeah. And we're trying to get the funding to do the studies, whatever has to be done, to eventually replace that bridge. Yeah. I mean, we put $16 million in it. I don't know if it was 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
15, I think, maybe.
15?
I think it's almost 15 years
wow.
ago. Yeah.
Time goes fast. It was $16 million that if we didn't spend that money, we'd have lost it. So we put all those renovations to the bridge. But that gave us 10 years. So now we got to start planning for a new crossing. And a major river crossing, we're talking $600-700 million.
Am I naive?
Probably more now.
Am I naive because I drive that road? Am I naive in saying why don't we just build a second bridge at the other end of Ambridge because on the other side, Constitution or whatever it is, it's wide and flat and ain't much there.
Well, that's what the study would do.
Okay.
Yeah, but personally, it's usually a lot more economically feasible to just build a bridge next to the bridge so you don't have to go through new right-of-way, new eminent domains, new ramps, and all those kinds of things. You already kind of have the crossing laid out there.
That's what we did with the Koppel Bridge.
The Koppel Bridge did that. For people who are familiar with Oakmont, the Holston Bridge, they did the same thing. The Turnpike, they're doing that same thing. You build one next to the one that's there, and improve things that way.
Jack Manning and Tony Amadeo, my guests this morning on Ask the Commissioners. What should I have brought up that I didn't bring up? We covered a lot of ground today.
Well, let's go Quips tonight in the finals. I've got my I Love Quip.
Jack's rocking his I Love Quip.
I hope that game's better than the Steelers-Patriots game will be. So I will be listening to the radio station. I think it's 6:00. Rooting on the Quips tonight. Also, I do want to make mention. I heard Don Inman passed away, in addition to Bob Capo, and Don's worked with all of us over the years. He's worked with my wife with a lot of things. She runs the McKinley Schoolhouse, and he's done all kinds of research and given her so much data and information, just a wealth of information.
He was a long-time Patterson Township Commissioner.
Yeah, just a great guy, and my condolences go out to the Inman family and the folks in Patterson Township, and also the museum that he oversees there in Darlington. So.
All right, best Christmas gift you ever got. I'm starting with you, Tony. Best Christmas gift you ever got. Don't get all emotional and love of my parents. I'm talking about something Santa brought you.
Santa brought me. Oh, geez, there were so many of them. It's hard for me to.
So many Santas?
So many presents.
Oh.
Yeah.
Spoiled kid, were you?
The big thing after Thanksgiving is my two kids. They want to know what I want for Christmas.
Yeah.
Dad, you're so hard to buy for. Well, you know what? When you're 72 years old, you pretty much got everything you want.
If you ain't got it, it ain't happening.
Right.
I think every dad hears that.
Yeah,
I don't know what to get that.
Yeah.
But,
just smile when you come and see me. Come and see me more often. I know you come a lot, but come more often.
That's the gift of their presence.
Yeah.
Okay. Jack, I told him not to get all emotional. He got emotional.
What do you want me to say? My J.C. Penney bicycle when I was a kid?
I was going to tell you it was probably a bicycle when I was 8 years old.
The Apple.
Your first mobility as a human being.
Those Schwinn bikes back in the
the Schwinn, the Apple crate, the orange
with the big,
crate.
Spring on the front, so when you
Springer nose, the shifter on the top tube. Death machines, gentlemen. Merry Christmas to both of you.
To you.
My best to everybody out there. Absolutely.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, brought to you live